Years flow by like water. The ambitious youth of yesteryear has now reached the age of knowing the mandate of heaven. The Analects say, "At 50, I knew the mandate of heaven." Confucius long ago saw through the patterns of life. 50 is indeed a crucial watershed in life. Whether you're a high-ranking official in the imperial court or a commoner in the marketplace, at this age, everyone faces similar life challenges. However, true wisdom isn't about how glorious past achievements were, but about whether you can master certain crucial skills in the latter half of life. What kind of wisdom is it that allows a person, after turning 50, to still calmly navigate the various changes in life and maintain inner peace and light amidst the turbulent world? On a late autumn night, in an inn of an ancient temple in Jiangnan, candlelight flickered. A middle-aged man was staring blankly at the leftover wine. His name was Li Wenyuan, 52 years old. He had served as an official in the imperial court for many years, with a promising future. However, just 3 months ago, he made a decision that shocked everyone. He voluntarily resigned and retired to his hometown. The court and the public alike were astonished, as at his age and with his abilities, it was the prime of his official career. Li Wenyuan raised his wine cup, his heart filled with mixed emotions. He recalled that night half a year ago that changed the course of his life. It was a drizzling spring night, and Li Wenyuan was in his study reviewing official documents. Suddenly, hurried footsteps came from outside the door. His personal servant rushed in, flustered. "Master, something bad has happened. The old mistress, she fainted." The brush in Li Wenyuan's hand clattered onto the rice paper, an ominous premonition welling up in his heart. He ran quickly to his mother's courtyard, only to see her lying pale on the bed, her breathing weak. The doctor was taking her pulse, his expression solemn. "Doctor, my mother, she..." Li Wenyuan's voice trembled slightly. The doctor sighed and shook his head. "Quan Tilang, an official title. The old mistress is old, and this time, I'm afraid." Li Wenyuan felt the world spin. He slowly walked to his mother's bedside and held her cold hands. These hands had sewn so many clothes for him and toiled for him day and night. And now, he didn't even have time to accompany his mother on her last journey. On her deathbed, his mother used her last ounce of strength to grasp his hand and utter a few difficult words. "Son, fame and fortune are not all there is to life." With that, his mother took her last breath. Li Wenyuan knelt before the bed, weeping bitterly. At that moment, he suddenly realized that for all these years, he had been busy chasing fame and fortune, yet he had neglected the most precious things in life. He had never properly accompanied his mother and had never shown his filial piety. From then on, Li Wenyuan often woke up in the middle of the night, his mother's dying words echoing repeatedly in his mind. He began to reflect on his life, pondering what he had gained and lost in these past 50 years. He remembered his younger self, full of vigor and ambition, believing that with his intelligence and tireless efforts, he could make a name for himself in this world. Indeed, he succeeded. From an ordinary scholar, he gradually passed the imperial examination, entered officialdom, and thrived in the bureaucracy, earning the respect of his colleagues and the emperor's favor. But now, standing at the halfway point of his life, he felt an unprecedented sense of confusion and emptiness. Those abilities that he once prided himself on, observing people's expressions, assessing situations, strategizing, and handling affairs smoothly, these skills that allowed him to establish himself in officialdom, why did they make him feel tired and weary after turning 50? Li Wenyuan put down his wine cup and walked to the window, gazing at the bright moon in the night sky. The moon was still the same moon, but the person looking at it had changed. He remembered looking at the moon when he was young, thinking of the grand ambition of "May we live long and share the beauty of the moon, though 1,000 miles apart." But now, looking at the moon, he thought of the impermanence of life. Humans have joys and sorrows. The moon has waxing and waning. This is hard to achieve completeness. Just then, a clear sound of horse hooves came from outside the inn. Li Wenyuan curiously looked out and saw a white-haired old man slowly approaching on a reddish-brown horse. Strangely, on this late autumn night, the old man was only wearing a thin blue robe, yet he showed no sign of cold and was full of vitality. What surprised Li Wenyuan even more was that the horse made almost no sound when it walked, as if treading on clouds. The old man stopped in front of the inn and looked up at the window where Li Wenyuan was. Their gazes met in the air. At that moment, Li Wenyuan felt a strong shock, as if all the secrets in his heart had been seen through. The old man's eyes were as deep as the sea, as compassionate as a Buddha, and as wise as stars. Li Wenyuan hurriedly went downstairs, wanting to greet this mysterious old man. But when he reached the inn's entrance, he found no one there, only a few shallow horse hoof prints on the ground. Head blankly. "Old Master Li, I've been behind the counter organizing accounts, and I didn't see any old man." Li Wenyuan was even more puzzled. Did he see things? But that soul-stirring feeling was so real. The next morning, Li Wenyuan decided to go to Guoqing Temple on Mount Tiantai nearby. He couldn't explain why he wanted to go there, but there was a strong calling deep in his heart, as if something important was waiting for him there. Guoqing Temple was located deep in Mount Tiantai, surrounded by mountains and ancient trees. Li Wenyuan slowly ascended along the winding mountain path. Halfway up the mountain, Li Wenyuan suddenly heard the sound of a wooden fish. Following the sound, he saw a small thatched hut. An old monk was sitting in front of the door, intently striking the wooden fish. This old monk had a kind face, white hair and beard, and wore a faded old monk's robe. To Li Wenyuan's surprise, the old monk's eyes were exactly like those of the mysterious old man from last night. "Benefactor, we meet again." The old monk put down the wooden fish and smiled at Li Wenyuan. Li Wenyuan's heart trembled. "Master, you said we meet again, but we... Last night, under the moon, didn't we meet? It's just that then I appeared in my secular form, and today I appear in my monastic form." Li Wenyuan gasped. So the mysterious old man from last night was this old monk. But how was this possible? Last night's old man was clearly wearing a blue robe and riding a swift horse, while the old monk in front of him was in a simple, poor, monastic attire. "Master, who exactly are you?" Li Wenyuan stammered. The old monk laughed heartily. "This humble monk's monastic name is Huija. I am the abbot of this Guoqing temple. As for last night's matter, it was merely because I observed that the benefactor was troubled, so I specifically went to see." Li Wenyuan was even more surprised. This Chan Master Huija could actually see through his inner thoughts and even change his appearance. This was simply a divine ability. "Benefactor, please sit." Chan Master Huija pointed to a blue stone next to him. You look troubled, so I presume you have something weighing on your mind. After sitting down, Li Wenyuan couldn't help but pour out all his perplexities accumulated over the years. Chan Master, I consider myself capable. When I was young, I established myself in officialdom with my abilities, and I can be considered successful. But why, after turning 50, do I feel so confused and pained? Chan Master Haiju picked up the wooden fish again and gently struck it a few times. The sound of the wooden fish echoed in the valley, distant and profound. Benefactor, do you know why this wooden fish is struck? Chan Master Haiju asked. Li Wenyuan shook his head. The wooden fish is carved from wood and inherently has no sound, but after being struck, it can emit a melodious sound, Chan Master Hui Yue said. Life is also like this. When we are young, we are like this piece of wood, needing to be constantly carved and struck to emit our own sound. But at a certain age, if we keep striking it, we will break the wooden fish. Li Wenyuan seemed to ponder this. Chan Master means that after 50, one cannot strive as hard as when one was young? Not only that, Chan Master Hui Yue's eyes gleamed with deep meaning. More importantly, one must learn a brand new way of life and master a brand new wisdom. What kind of wisdom? Li Wenyuan eagerly asked. Chan Master Hui Yue stood up and walked to an osmanthus tree in front of the thatched hut. Benefactor, look at this osmanthus tree. It sprouts in spring, its branches and leaves are lush in summer, it flowers in autumn, and its leaves fall in winter. Each season has a different state. If you ask it to flower in spring or to sprout in autumn, wouldn't that go against the laws of nature? Life is also like this, Chan Master Huaizhu continued. At 20, one should live like a 20-year-old. At 50, one should have the wisdom of a 50-year-old. What is needed in youth is ambition, but after turning 50, what is needed is a different realm. Li Wenyuan felt that Chan Master Huaizhu's words had a deeper meaning and couldn't help but press on. Then what exactly is this realm? Chan Master Huaizhu smiled mysteriously. When Sakyamuni Buddha was teaching in Rajagriha, a highly respected elder came to see him. This elder was over 50 years old, had vast wealth, and was highly regarded in the local area. Chan Master Huiju's voice seemed to carry a certain magic, making Li Wenyuan involuntarily immerse himself in it. The elder asked the world-honored one, "World-honored one, I have managed my life for half a lifetime and achieved much, but at this age, I always feel empty inside and don't know how to spend the second half of my life." Li Wenyuan's heart trembled upon hearing this. This elder's predicament was so similar to his own. Then how did the world-honored one enlighten him? Li Wenyuan asked impatiently. Chan Master Huijue slowly shook his head. The world-honored one used a short story to enlighten the elder. What story? The world-honored one said, once upon a time, there was a wise man. When he was young, he learned many skills. He was proficient in chin, chess, calligraphy, and painting, and knew everything about poetry and prose. With these skills, he achieved great success in the world and became a famous great talent. Li Wenyuan listened attentively, feeling that this story seemed to have a wonderful similarity to his own experiences. But when he reached 50, this wise man suddenly discovered that those skills he once prided himself on seemed to have lost their meaning. No matter how beautiful the music, it couldn't compare to inner peace. No matter how exquisite the calligraphy and painting, it couldn't compare to a broad mind. No matter how good the poetry, it couldn't compare to true wisdom. What happened then? Li Wenyan asked eagerly. Later, this wise man visited a reclusive master and sought guidance on how to live the second half of his life. Chan Master Huijue's eyes flashed with a hint of mystery. That master told the wise man, "Your current confusion precisely indicates that you are standing at an important juncture in life. This juncture, the ancients called the age of knowing the mandate of heaven." Li Wenyan nodded. The Analects indeed speak of, "At 50, I knew the mandate of heaven." The master continued, "The mandate of heaven doesn't mean that destiny is already fixed, but rather that at this age, one should understand the laws of the Tao of heaven and conform to the laws of nature." When young, one could still rely on physical strength and willpower to endure against the Tao of heaven. But after 50, if one still doesn't understand how to conform to the Tao of heaven, one will live very painfully. Li Wenyuan seemed to understand and continued to ask, "What else did that master say?" Chan Master Huijue's eyes gleamed with a profound light. The master told the wise man that to live comfortably and peacefully in the second half of life, one must master a special kind of wisdom and ability. This ability is different from any skill learned in youth. It is not used to conquer the external world, but to tame the inner self. Li Wenyuan held his breath, feeling like he was about to hear the most important secret. What exactly is this wisdom and ability? Chan Master Huijue stood up at this point and looked at him, saying, "Benefactor, answer me a question first. After turning 50, what are you most afraid of?" This question was like a sudden blow, leaving Li Wenyuan stunned. What was he most afraid of after 50? He had never seriously considered this question. When he was young, he was afraid of not passing the imperial examination. Later, he was afraid of his career not going smoothly. Then, he was afraid of no hope for promotion. But after turning 50, these external things seemed to longer matter so much. So, what was he truly afraid of? Li Wenyuan fell into deep thought. Li Wenyuan pondered for a long time, then a flicker of understanding crossed his eyes. "Chan Master, I think I understand. After 50, what I fear most is not losing something, but not knowing how to continue." Chan Master Huijue nodded, a look of approval in his eyes. "For the benefactor to have this realization means you have already taken a crucial step. Since that is the case, I will tell you the secret that the master imparted to the wise man." Li Wenyan's heart quickened. Finally, he was about to hear the answer. That wise man, after hearing the master's teachings, wept bitterly, saying that if he had known this earlier, he wouldn't have wasted so many years. That master said, "This wisdom encompasses 3 levels. The first level is called the ability to know when to stop." Chan Master Huijue rose and walked to the window, gazing at the distant mountains. Laozi said, "He who knows contentment is not disgraced. He who knows when to stop is not endangered." When we are young, we pursue fame and fortune, which is understandable. But after 50, if we still desperately pursue them like when we were young, we will fall into suffering. True wisdom lies in knowing when to stop. Li Wenyuan pondered this. Chan Master means to learn to let go? Not just letting go, but more importantly, knowing what to hold on to and what to let go of. Chan Master Hui Jue turned to look at him. For example, when we were young, we fought for fame and fortune, for survival and development. But at 50, our basic livelihood is already secure. At this point, continuing to desperately compete is not knowing when to stop. Then what should we hold on to? Li Wenyuan asked. Holding on to self-cultivation, holding on to learning wisdom, holding on to helping others. These things that nourish the soul are what one should hold on to after 50. Chan Master Hu Jue's words conveyed deep wisdom. The ability to know when to stop is not passive surrender, but an active choice, knowing when to advance, when to retreat, when to contend, and when to yield. Li Wenyuan nodded, recalling his own struggles in officialdom over the years, many of which were indeed unnecessary. The second level is called the capacity to tolerate others, Rong Ren Qi Liang. Chan Master Hu Jue sat down again, his gaze becoming even gentler. The Analects say, "A gentleman is in harmony, but not the same." When we are young, we have distinct personalities and sharp edges. These are the characteristics of youth. But after 50, if we still constantly argue with others and always try to get the upper hand, we will live very tiring lives. Does the capacity to tolerate others mean learning to be inclusive? Li Wenyuan asked. Inclusiveness is just the surface. The deeper meaning is understanding, Chan Master Hu Jue said slowly. When you have experienced the ups and downs of life and seen all kinds of people and things, you will understand that everyone has their own difficulties and everyone lives according to their own understanding. Things you couldn't tolerate when you were young, you should learn to understand after 50. People you disliked when you were young, you should learn to tolerate after 50. Li Wenyuan recalled his experiences interacting with people in officialdom. Indeed, there were many times when his lack of tolerance led to unnecessary conflicts. The capacity to tolerate others also has a deeper meaning, Chan Master Hui Yu continued. It is to learn to appreciate young people. After 50, we often find that our views differ greatly from those of young people. At this time, don't be quick to dismiss them, but learn to appreciate their vitality and innovation. This is indeed a very profound lesson, Li Wenyuan sighed. The third level, and the most important one, is called the method of nourishing the mind. Chan Master Hui Jue's voice became exceptionally solemn. The Great Learning says, cultivate oneself, regulate one's family, govern the state, and bring peace to the world. And the core of self-cultivation is nourishing the mind. When we are young, we are busy with external affairs and rarely pay attention to our inner world. But after 50, if we don't know how to nourish the mind, we will feel empty, anxious, and fearful. What exactly is the method of nourishing the mind? Li Wenyuan asked eagerly. The method of nourishing the mind includes 3 aspects: cultivating virtue, cultivating wisdom, and cultivating tranquility. Chan Master Hui Jue said, word by word. Cultivating virtue means cultivating your moral character. Do more good deeds and have fewer evil thoughts. Virtue is the nourishment of the soul. A virtuous person has a peaceful mind. Cultivating wisdom means constantly learning, constantly thinking, and constantly improving your wisdom. Wisdom is the lamp of the soul. A wise person has a clear mind. cultivating tranquility means learning to be alone, learning to meditate, and learning to appreciate the beauty of life in tranquility. Tranquility is the home of the soul. A tranquil person has a peaceful spirit. Li Yuan listened intently, feeling that every word of Chan Master Huiju struck a chord with him. These 3 levels seem simple, but in reality, they require long-term cultivation. Chan Master Huiju continued. That wise man, after hearing the Master's teachings, spent a full 10 years cultivating this wisdom. 10 years later, he had become a completely different person. What happened to that wise man later? Li Yuan asked. The wise man, at the age of 70, distributed all his family property to the poor and lived as a recluse in the mountains. He passed away peacefully at 85, reportedly with a smile on his face, as if he were sleeping. Li Yuan was deeply shaken. So the second half of life could be lived so wonderfully. Chan Master Huijue looked at him and said compassionately, "Benefactor, do you understand now? After turning 50, what is truly important is not how capable you are, but whether you have mastered these 3 levels of wisdom. The ability to know when to stop allows you to know when to advance and retreat. The capacity to tolerate others allows you to live in harmony. And the method of nourishing the mind allows your inner self to be at peace." But Chan Master, these 3 levels of wisdom are easy to talk about, but difficult to put into practice, Li Yuan said with a bitter smile. Indeed, Chan Master Huijue nodded. But the benefactor must understand that cultivating these 3 levels of wisdom is not about becoming a sage, but about living more freely. Every small step of progress will bring about huge changes in your life. Chan Master Huiju stood up to pour tea for Li Yuan and continued. For example, the ability to know when to stop, you can start with small things. Before, you might have argued endlessly with others for a small benefit. Now you can try to yield a step and see what happens. Before, you might have worked late into the night. Now you can try to rest earlier and use the time to accompany your family or read. Li Yuan seemed to understand. Chan Master means to practice these wisdoms in daily life? Precisely so, Chan Master Huiju smiled. The capacity to tolerate others is the same. When you encounter unpleasant people or things, don't rush to get angry or complain, but rather try to stand in the other person's shoes. Perhaps you will find that they also have their difficulties. Over time, you will find your mind becoming more and more open. What about the method of nourishing the mind? Li Yuan asked. The method of nourishing the mind requires perseverance, Chan Master Huiju said. Every day, spend some time reading. It doesn't have to be profound classics, just read some texts that can inspire the soul. Spend some time alone. It doesn't have to be meditation, just quietly reflect on life. Do some good deeds every day. They don't have to be grand. Helping a nearby person solve a small problem is enough. Li Yuan deeply inhaled, feeling a newfound clarity. Chan Master, your enlightenment has completely opened my mind. So the second half of life requires this kind of wisdom. Chan Master Huiju looked at him kindly. For the benefactor to understand these principles shows you have an affinity with the Buddha. However, understanding is one thing and practice is another. I hope the benefactor can apply these wisdoms to daily life. I will certainly practice diligently, Li Yuan said sincerely. However, I still have one question. Why are these 3 levels of wisdom so important for people after 50? Chan Master Huiju pondered for a moment and slowly said, "Because 50 is a crucial watershed in life." Before this, we mainly struggled in the external world, pursuing success and achievements. But after 50, external pursuits have basically reached a certain level, and at this time, inner needs will emerge. If one has not mastered these 3 levels of wisdom, one will feel confused, anxious, and empty, because no matter how great external achievements are, they cannot fill the inner void. Chan Master Hujui's words were full of wisdom, and having mastered these 3 levels of wisdom is like lighting a lamp in your heart. No matter how the external world changes, your inner self can remain at peace. Li Wenyuan nodded, deeply understanding Chan Master Hujui's words. He recalled his own struggles over the years, which were precisely due to inner emptiness. Additionally, Chan Master Huiju continued, "After 50, we will face more trials of birth, aging, illness, and death. Our parents will age, and our own bodies will experience various problems. If we don't have strong inner support, it will be difficult to cope with these challenges. And these 3 levels of wisdom are precisely the methods to help us build a strong inner self." Li Wenyuan remembered the pain he felt when his mother passed away. If he had mastered these wisdoms then, perhaps he wouldn't have been so painful. "Chan Master, you are absolutely right," Li Wenyuan said gratefully. "I understand now why the ancients placed such importance on these 3 levels of wisdom. They are indeed essential methods for the second half of life." "Very good." Chan Master Huiju stood up. "Then from today onwards, the benefactor can begin to practice. Remember, don't rush for success. Every small step of progress accumulated will be a huge change." Li Wenyuan left Goking Temple when his mood was completely different from when he arrived. He no longer felt confused and troubled, but was filled with anticipation for the future. He knew that a new chapter in his life was about to begin. Walking down the mountain, Li Wenyuan looked back at the temple on the mountain peak. The sun was setting, and the sound of bells echoed, enveloping the entire mountain in a golden glow. He suddenly understood that this journey to seek the Dharma was not just to resolve his inner confusion, but also to find the direction for the second half of his life. This story tells us that true strength doesn't come from defeating others, but from conquering oneself and mastering one's inner self. And the ability to know when to stop, the capacity to tolerate others, and the method of nourishing the mind are the 3 great methods that help us become such strong individuals. In this restless era, as we all desperately pursue external success, perhaps we should stop and reflect on what is truly important in life. What is the power that sustains us through the second half of our lives? The answer lies deep within us, in those seemingly simple but infinitely wise ancient teachings, and in those 6 characters: know when to stop, tolerate others, and nourish the mind. May everyone over 50 harvest their own fruits of wisdom in the autumn of their lives. Finally, I want to say, even the best lecture is just a finger pointing at the moon, not the moon itself. Buddhist teachings are like reality. Only through personal experience can one truly taste them, for they cannot be fully expressed in words.
At Sacred Lotus Glow, we believe that everyone has the ability to unlock their own inner light. Join us in lighting the fire of wisdom, spreading compassion, and living a more fulfilling and meaningful life. Subscribe today so you don't miss any videos that help you find your inner peace and light.